This video is going to cover section 3.7 on formatting output. We will be relying heavily upon some of the textbook examples. So remember, you should have all your source code files in a folder. So I put mine in a folder called Spring 2019. I'm going to go into that folder and we're going to look at chapter 3. And I think we're down to around program 14, 15, and I'm looking at the comment up here. And so yeah, program 13 was combined input. So this one's going to be talking about how to output numbers. We're going to look at several of these sample codes, and I just want to review that you can edit these in Notepad++. This is the easy way to copy this code over. So we're going to copy that over and we're going to put it into JDoodle in order for us to work with this. So just reviewing, how do you get to the source code file, how do you copy that code over, etc. Okay, if we go back and take a look at the PowerPoints just quickly, on the formatting output there's a special header that we are going to have to use, and we need to understand how to format output because different data types have different sizes. And we also sometimes want to output the number of digits. Like for money, we want to output 2 decimal places. So we are going to be looking at special, they're called stream manipulators, and they are used to control output fields. And so they aren't going to make sense to you yet until we show you some, but I'm going to just go through the names of them so you see some of them. setW is going to set a field width. And so once we see a few of these, come back and take a look at these screens again. And that X is the number or the field width size. So if I put a 10 inside here, it would set a field width of 10. And that means that everything is going to be set in a field width of 10. It says it will use more spaces if the specified field is not big enough. So in other words, if you set a field width of 10 and you're outputting someone's entire name, first name and last name, and you need more than 10 spaces, it's going to override that. We also have values that will affect how output is created. This is right here is more specifically for how many decimal points we want to use. We have a fixed operator that's used with decimal notation and not E notation. E notation would be exponential, like times 10 to the e to the something like that. And then set precision is going to be able to allow us to do fixed decimal points, and without fixed it will print a floating point value using the significant digits. So those of you that are familiar with significant digits, fixed allows us to override that basically. So if we don't use fixed, it's going to print significant digits. Show point will always print a decimal point, and you can left and right justify as well, which means lining up columns on the left and lining up columns on the right. This is an example, and we're going to look at that code in a minute in the book. All right. The examples in your textbook are going to show us why we need to format output, and then it'll show us a solution to that. So this, for example, is just basically a table of data. We got 9 numbers, and we're outputting them a row at a time. And if I scroll down, the output looks like the following. And it's kind of hard to see which rows line up with which rows. Okay. Now the next program in our source files, this 3-15, is going to use that setW operator. So please notice that we've got pound include IO manip. We need to use that in order to use the setW command. And so IO manip stands for input output manipulation, and set width is just basically saying I need 6 spaces. I'm gonna print a number, 6 spaces, and then a number, 6 spaces, then a number, etc. If we take a look at what the code was before on the 3-14, they just had a number, and then inside quotes they had a space, a number, and then a single space, etc. And so if we go ahead and execute this code where everything is a field width of 6, and if I look at my numbers, my largest number has 4 digits, so this should work. If I execute this, instead of the code being out of order, it should be in order, but it says I have an error message that says cout was not declared. And when I copied stuff over, I not only need pound include IO manip, I must have overwrote something. I need pound include IO stream in order to use cout. So that's a good example of the error message you get if you don't have the right pound includes. So that I'm hoping will work now. And now we can see that our data is all lined up, and this data is what we call right justified. It's right justified because it's lined up along the right hand side. And so we'll look or investigate the other operators in a different video. This one is just going to show the set width and provided an overview or an introduction to formatting output.